The Department of Trade and Industry is a key partner in this initiative through the ECIC. ECIC is actually an agency of the Department of Trade and Industry, so we are the shareholder representative, for lack of a better word, in terms of for the South African government. So the program itself will be intimately involved in putting it together as part of activating our strategy for the rest of Africa. The DTI in 2016 launched Trade Invest Africa, which says that we'll pursue an investment-led trade strategy to the rest of the continent. So, we do that in a number of ways, supporting companies, access to markets. But one critical missing link has always been cohesive and comprehensive trade financing that can also support that initiative. So SATIP is a critical piece of the puzzle in actually activating that strategy. So we're quite pleased to, be here to see the launch 7 years later, I must add, because it's a discussion that we've been having with Afreximbank for a good number of years now. And through the ECIC, we managed to concretize the relationship.
So now South Africa, of course, is one of the big economic giants of the African continent. Now, how does it plan to position itself in the development of intra-Africa trade?
We have reflected to say we need to create more sustainable partnerships on the continent. So we cannot continue to serve as just an exporter to the rest of the continent, yet we belong to one region. So the outward investment-led trade approach is to address that, to say a number of African countries have their own industrialization strategies, they've got their own growth paths. So for us to fully integrate into the broader political economy of our own continent, we need to contribute to those growth strategies that every country has for themselves. And the only way to do that, of course, is through investments. Invest in infrastructure development, invest in productive capacity manufacturing and the like. So that's the future, really, of our economic engagement with the continent, more investment-based, whilst, of course, stimulating and facilitating intra-Africa trade. Another key thing that we're doing now through Trade Invest Africa as well is to encourage more sourcing from the rest of Africa into South Africa. Because it's one thing to open up markets for South African products, but if you're going to talk intra-Africa trade, every African country needs to prioritize sourcing from the continent, and we also have to take the lead, if you will, in that approach. So that's really the new trajectory and the new way that we're engaging our continent for the future.
And are there policies that we need to revisit in order to enable free trade within the African continent?
Our view is that we don't have a shortage of policies. We just need to activate. We need to make sure that we've got projects that we see through. For example, if we're going to talk, say, in the energy space, there are a lot of policies around development of energy on the continent, at individual country level, at regional levels, be it SADC, even AU. But yet, as we speak, we still don't have Inga powering the whole continent, you see. So it's not for lack of policies. It's for, we need to make sure that we activate the projects that are going to transform our economy and the African economy.
That's a key issue that you're mentioning over there. We need to activate. As you mentioned, this is something that's been developing for the last 7 years, and we're only seeing it into fruition only today. How do we ensure that this is not just another talk shop, and instead we have tangible goals and solutions for intra-Africa trade?
This will not be another talk shop, because I think the confluence of factors has made sure that the timing is actually right. I'm actually more pleased that it's happening now than later. One, it's, we are at the cusp of finalizing and activating the Continental Free Trade Agreement. That in itself is a big milestone. So this project and this new financing mechanism will feed into that. And of course, we, as well as South Africa, as government and private sector, have gone and redefine how we engage with the continent. And we launched this new redefined approach in 2016. So the timing is perfect. All the pieces of the puzzle are fitting in well together, and we've set targets for ourselves so that this $1 billion facility that is set aside, we track and monitor the utilization thereof and track and monitor the developmental impact of that utilization. So I'm quite, I can relatively, with relative comfort, assure you that it's not just a tick box exercise. It's a real solution that we've been needing.